Hi, my name is Mike Lorenz. I'm an Air Force veteran, but I'm also in charge of BC's military and veteran support. My role entails working with veteran alumni, faculty and staff, students, prospective students, military families, and anyone else that's military connected on campus. What I'm hoping to do today is cover a little bit about our campus culture, how to get involved if you would like, and some resources to help you as you start your time here at BC. BC's military history goes back to 1918, when ROTC was first founded and started here. Since then, we've sent service members to every major conflict. We have Army, Air Force, and Navy ROTC present today. Around 2016, a group of grad students formalized and came together and started a Student Veterans of America chapter. And since then, we've slowly been growing our resources and the presence here on campus. We hope to continue adding more students, but we also hope to just provide quality support and service to those who are here. As you may or may not know, BC is a Jesuit Catholic institution. Without going too far into depth, what this boils down to is the underlying philosophy is basically you should focus on your academics, but you should also focus on your social and spiritual development or your development as a whole person. We have a phrase called cura personalis. It's Latin for care of the whole person. If you see humanity in others and you care for others at the core of your values, then you'll appreciate the Jesuit philosophy. In the middle picture there on the bottom, St. Ignatius of Loyola, who founded the Jesuits and hence our Jesuit educational system, of which we fall under, he was a soldier and a veteran. And in his recovery is when he formed his sort of true self. And so that's what I'm hoping you can find a bit of there. As you're here, some of your classes may touch on this. Some of the programming around the institution may focus on this. I don't want you to be scared or turned off if you're not of a particular religious affiliation. Really, it boils down to humanity and care for others. And as veterans and military people, a lot of what we've done in our previous lives or current life right now is working to serve others. So talking a little bit about BC in a practical sense, BC is a top tier and prestigious institution. If you're going to come work here, welcome. If you got accepted here to one of the academic programs, that's amazing. It's very competitive and very hard to get into. So I hope you're proud and I hope you wear that with some pride. We're a very heavily residential campus, meaning that about 85% of the undergrad students live here on campus, on the main campus in Chestnut Hill. And so with that comes a great sense of pride, a great sense of community and belonging. But as veterans coming in, you're typically a little bit older students. You may have had a lot more life experience than some of the 18 to 20-year-olds that you may be in classes with if you're an undergrad student. And so it's important to note that there are some differences or things that might make you feel like you're not quite belonging or don't fit in. But I would urge you to talk with others and get a sense you do belong here. And I will repeat that over and over. You are welcome here. We can find a place for you where you can feel comfortable and you earned your way here. And so I want you to hopefully take advantage of everything that BC has to offer and also enrich yourself in whatever ways that you think is necessary. For graduate students, we do have a Graduate Student Life Center. It's on the corner of Hammond and Beacon Street in a house called the Murray House. They have a separate graduate student lounge. They hold their own programs and their own organizations. And they're really here to help you and your families, recognizing that graduate students often come to campus with a slightly different set of needs. I'll go into specific groups later, but I do want to call out, so we have about 3,000 alumni, several hundred of them come back to campus or are involved in some of the programs in some way, shape, or form around the country, at least every year, if not every 2 years. And so our veteran alumni network, BC VAN, is incredibly active and incredibly supportive. They always want to connect with current students, help you network if you're going to look for a job or things like that. And so be on the lookout for various programs and events through them. We have approximately 80 to 85 faculty and staff on campus that identify as veterans. These are from all eras, their faculty, their staff. They're in all different facets of the university. And then we have approximately 150 students enrolled at any given time at the institution taking classes. and roughly half of them might have families. And so we're hoping to grow this number a little bit, but you are surrounded and you wouldn't know it, but there are a lot of veterans on campus. So for you students, if you're going to use the GI Bill or looking for financial assistance, let me just spend a quick minute touching base on this. And so most commonly used here is the post 9/11 GI Bill. If you're 100% eligible for the post 9/11, then you automatically get Yellow Ribbon, which is $6,000 matched by the VA. So you get it roughly about $12,000. All you have to do is turn in your certificate of eligibility, send me a PDF, send it in any way, shape, or form that you would like. And then we automatically enroll you in that system. It is that easy. There is not a lot of red tape or things that you have to fight through on your end once you have your COE. That's with the VA. If you're on VRNE, it basically covers everything, and your counselor will get directly in touch with our certifying official. So there's even less lift for you on that end. If you're going to BC and you still have a bit of a gap in terms of tuition, I do have a running list of scholarships. Some of the more well-used scholarships are listed below here, but I do have a much more extensive list. And so please feel free to reach out to me. If you're getting Yellow Ribbon, just to go back to that real quick, that is a little bit different depending on what school you're in. So if you're in the law school, the School of Social Work, or in the full-time MBA program, and you're 100% eligible for the GI Bill, the Yellow Ribbon covers your entire tuition. Everyone else, it's roughly that 6,000 matched by the VA for another 6,000. But there are a couple different means, a couple different scholarship programs. So I would highly encourage you to reach out if you have questions or if you want to know about some additional funding resources. So a little bit about the health and wellness on campus. Like we said, part of the Jesuit educational philosophy is to care for the whole person. And so with that, and as veterans, that comes with various different things. So we do have a counseling center. We have a women's resource center. We have an LGBTQ support center. We have campus ministry, and we have an off-campus housing office, especially since all of you will be living off campus. I listed under there Brighton Marine. Brighton Marine is an organization that is roughly 15 minutes down the road from here. They also have an apartment complex just for veterans. It can be a little competitive to get to, but they're worth looking into if that might fit your circumstances. All this to say, we want you to feel supported here, both mentally and emotionally, as well as academically. And as we talk about academic resources, there's a couple different things here. If you're a faculty and staff, reach out to HR for accommodations that you might need. If you need a specific person to get in touch with over there, just let me know and I'll put you in touch. For those of you who might have physical disabilities, you want to work with the Students with Disabilities office. It's up here in Maloney Hall where my office is. And they can help you with different accommodations, different timelines. The one thing is that you must be registered with them. You can't proactively register with them after something happens. And so I would encourage you, even if you don't think you're going to need resources, register with them right away. If you have a learning disability, it's a slightly different process. While these two offices work very closely together, a learning disability goes through the Connors Family Learning Center, which is in the O'Neill Library. Again, even if you don't think you're going to need their resources, if you have a learning disability, I would highly recommend that you provide them the documentation and at least get registered. That way, when things come up, you are able to easily kind of do it and you don't have to try and work retroactively. And so they offer tutoring, writing, and other skills, but they also help you with test taking and things like that. So the different veteran groups and getting involved. So we have a Student Veteran Association, or the SVA. We have a Law Student Veteran Association because the law students are on the Newton campus, so slightly removed from the main campus here. We have a Veterans Affinity Group for faculty and staff. We have a Veterans Alumni Network, BC VAN. And then listed sort of in the upper right corner there is the Collegiate Warrior Athlete Initiative. This is an initiative through the School of Nursing and Professor Ann Burgess. And she has money that she provides. She will purchase a rec center membership if you agree to work in this program where you're paired up with a student athlete or a student who is athletically inclined. You work out once or twice a week at a scheduled set time, and it's just meant to connect you both with physical wellness, but also to meet students to sort of get involved in other ways and take care of yourself holistically. So a little bit of practical information. If you have a conflict with a military obligation, so if you're in the Guard or Reserve and you have to deploy or do some of your annual training or things like that, and that conflicts with, if it conflicts with work, let me know and I'll connect you with HR so that they can work through that. If you're a student and it conflicts with your classes, if it's going to be an extended period of time, you have to take a leave of absence through your dean's office. If it's only going to be a week or two, or if you have some other smaller conflicts and you're struggling to communicate that with your professor, your academic professionals, just let me know and I'll do my best to advocate for you and help mediate and translate a little bit about what's going on. Parking, you can register for a parking sticker here, depending on the cost and what your allowance might be. That might be an option for you or not. There is free parking on Commonwealth Avenue for up to 2 hours, and there are meters on Beacon Avenue in both flank campus. However, parking, depending on the time that you're here and everything, it might be a little bit more challenging to find a spot. And so just know that there are a couple different options for you. Some of you, especially grad students, are only here once or twice a week. Others of you who are in undergrad programs might have to be here every day. So it's a bit of a pick and choose on your own time as to what works for you. If you do have access to bases or you're looking for that, we have Hanscom Air Force Base, which is about 20-25 minutes north. Fort Devens is a little bit further north. We have Coast Guard Station Boston and Joint Base Cape Cod. Those are the specific military installations. We also have 3 VA hospitals. The closest is Jamaica Plain. West Roxbury is also very close. And then Bedford, which is a little bit further north, especially if you're coming in from the North Shore. As far as Boston goes, if you've never been to the East Coast or New England, or you're not familiar with Boston, it can be a little bit of a tricky city to figure out, especially driving. Nothing is in a grid or a straight line. If you have basic questions like, hey, I just moved here with my family, what restaurants or what is the zoo like, or what can we do on the weekends, things like that, I'm more than happy to help you. Your classmates are more than happy to help you. Other veterans are more than happy to help you. I have found that veterans, again, love helping other veterans. So no question is too big or too small. If you're transitioning here and you're unfamiliar with the area, maybe it's where to live, and big questions like that, or again, simple questions, please reach out. No question is too big or too small to try and figure out how do we get you resources. And that leads into the overall transition assistance. You know yourself best. You know what you may or may not need, and you know your limits. When you're starting school, especially if you haven't taken classes for a while, it can be a little bit overwhelming, and it's easy to figure out or to come to the consensus that you're too overwhelmed and that you're not going to be able to continue. And did you make a mistake? I would almost promise you 99.9% of the time that is untrue. It is just a lot to take in. So be very honest with yourself, know how to decompress, and know when you've hit your limit and when to ask for help. There are a ton of resources here, some of which I listed, many of which I did not. I'm happy to help you confidentially. Other classmates, other people are around. You have a large community here that cares about you. So speaking of spaces and needing to decompress, we do have there's a fish lens picture there, which makes it look a little bit bigger than it actually is. We have a designated lounge space in Kearney Hall. It's Kearney 329. It's sort of right across from the ROTC offices. Your Eagle access or your Eagle card will be loaded with access when you arrive to campus. It should be just as easy as you walking up there and tapping it and getting in. At any given time, there's 1 to 3 or 4 veterans in there, both grad students, undergrad, different programs. Some of them studying together, some of them just individually, some of them just eating lunch. We have a fridge, a microwave, a printer, some pretty high-end snacks, I like to think, and some pretty good coffee. But that space is open and available for you to use whenever you would like. So I'm going to start wrapping up, but I want you to feel hopefully welcome to this community in whatever capacity you're coming to us in. Again, if you're a remote student and some of this stuff doesn't feel like it applies to you, Some of it may not, it may be very on-campus specific, but I'm happy to try and work with you to get you involved. We'll get you on some Zoom calls and we'll make sure that you feel connected. We post on social media approximately once a week. I would encourage you to follow us there. And then our veterans website has much more detailed information about the information that I just shared. And goes into a little bit more in-depth and extensive information. And lastly, here's my contact info. I'm in Maloney Hall on the 4th floor. Feel free to come up anytime. Just ask for Mike or the veterans office. Most of the staff up here know where I'm at. I'm more than happy to help you with any transitional issues, any sort of personal things that are going on. That is not only my job, but it's something I enjoy doing. I'm a veteran that wants to give back to other veterans, and we're all sort of in this together. So with that, welcome to the community, and I hope to meet you soon.